Till 1 in 20. I am sorry that we have been away so long. We have missed being here at the table with everyone and Chris throwing crazy shapes. Um, Welcome back. We are here once again for a brand new campaign. The the Calls of Astera. A the world itself is a vibrant landscape, whispers with ancient magic and chaotic energies soaked into the land itself, and a people diverse and mixed in different ideologies and natures. Today, the world itself is teeming with chaotic energies on the verge of breaking loose. We join a group, however, that walks a strange line in between good and evil. We come now to Dante, Wickhausen, and Eechie. As you enter through the fort of Kadfesi and into the district that both of you, having not been here for you specifically, Eechie, but Dante a long time ago, you know that this area is known as the Bastion. Mostly taken up by the towering fort that blocks the mountain pass behind you, the guards waving you through just as quickly as they did over the drawbridge after seeing your papers and the letter that came with your job. Neither of you having looked at the letter, but would you each like to describe yourself as your carts pull up onto the edge of the bastion and you gain a view out over the desert and down over the city of Kadfesi?
By all means, Chris.
Oh, thank you.
In front of you stands the striking figure with fiery ginger hair cascading down to his shoulders, mirroring the intensity of the flames that dance in his eyes. His pale skin, cracked and marked, his right arm, shoulder, and neck are covered in small burn-like scars. Across his chest and back has various small tattoos that look very old in design. He has a thin mustache and goatee. He is very young looking for a human male. He's wearing lightweight, intricately crafted armor that gleams and dances, shimmering light bounces, giving it the appearance of movement. The armor is engraved with a design that almost looks like the ancient runes that match similar to his tattoos. Adorned his back is a huge two-handed greatsword of beautiful quality. This echoes his brooding charisma. I actually don't remember where I wrote some of this part. He holds himself back and comes across quiet, and through intense looks, his gaze shows a deep experience, burdened by sorrow and guilt.
Okay, and riding up next to this dark shadow of a figure is a member of our new race, the Grundon, a plant people said to have been born from the world of Astera themselves and adapting to every part of the world. Eechie, describe.
Eechie stands approximately 5'4" inches tall, with a kind of greeny brown and ashen coloured skin that, if you look closely, is made up of fine hairs that each have kind of like collected dust. Around each of their limbs are leaves and vines that kind of all clump together and hold tight to show the arid world in which they were born. Going up towards their head, we see all of their jawline, their cheekbones, their eyebrows, all made with slight spikes to kind of show the resistant nature of the plants that they are surrounded by. Their hair, well, not hair, but leaves that kind of go up, resemble that of a succulent, with bright colours and thorns adorning the the tips, each kind of fanning, each adding a layer. On their chest, they wear a brass breastplate with a singular eye engraved into it. At their side, there is a long sword that has a slight curved blade with a green wrapping around the hilt, and a shield made of steel and iron with, again, a bronze eye inlaid within. They currently are are riding upon an elk that resembles a very similar aesthetic to them. Antlers that are kind of wafts and like leaves of the same succulent that they are made from, with green and purple irises that match Eechie themselves, an ashen brown kind of fur matted around them as they ride next to Dante and the wagon which we are escorting.
Yes. So Dante is sat up next to Summer, and Jilly is pulling in the wagon behind. Each of you will have noticed pretty much since you arrived, they are looking nervous. Obviously, they sort of kept out of sight of what legitimately happened, but they know that something is amiss with all the. And obviously, you've talked openly about the Darklings having acquired things.
Well, might as well get to our delivery destination. Face the thunder.
Mm-hmm.
With the information that we have of the location we are going to and the individual, Kadfesi, that's the individual, isn't it?
That's the town.
No,
That's
that's the
how?
town. The individual is
It's
Dr.
Tincua.
Sorry, Tincua.
Tincua is who we're delivering to.
Arian's Arcana.
Yeah, that's the shop.
And
I've written it down. I couldn't remember if
yeah.
I put name, shop, location, or location, shop,
Yeah.
name.
And you know that you are doing a job for Dr. X.
Dr. X. Is it Arian's Arcana or Arian's Arcana?
Arian's Arcana.
Arian's Arcana. What kind of business if at all we know, what kind of business does this?
I mean, so as you sort of look, you can see that it is in the Forge Ward.
Mm-hmm.
One of the lower wards so from this plateau, the Bastion, you can see that looking to the right and left, other than the large fort, it's mostly houses belonging to the soldiers and their families. It's a lot of the, training grounds and stations, and a lot of the military stuff seems to be on this plateau. You know, there must be stuff further down and spread out, but the majority of it seems to be here. From this plateau, there are 4 different sort of winding roads, each of decent size, but they sort of wind down the mountainside, leading to the different districts. You know that you need to head down the 3rd line, and that will take you down towards the Forge Ward. For Dante, the last time you were here, some number of years ago, this area was a lot more dedicated towards the mines. However, as you start to head down towards this area, you do see newer buildings cropping up from within. What you will notice, and for Eechie, this isn't much of a surprise or anything different. It's very much similar from the desert area where you grew up. Most of the buildings here are crafted by magic, and very clearly so. In the same style, in the same way. The only reason you can tell that there is age is the wear and tear. So, this grey building is worn and a bit damaged, and this one's spanking new, sparkling, right? Other than that, it's fairly uniform in the way they build their buildings. And you are seeing new buildings. Longer, more industrial looking buildings that seem to be them producing and doing something with the what you all would know is their major export of Zikar, which is the crystal that levitates when enchanted. You would be able to make your way down, however, and pulling up to one of these more newer buildings, you can see there's lots of as you get further down and you start pulling up to the building, there's lots of movement, people moving on the street. The shops are open and ready for business, but you're also seeing the movement of large cargoes being moved. And as you get down here, you do begin to see a lot more of the Zikar crystal powered vehicles. Dante, you can give me a history. Each you just know because you have been around these before. Not
And
this.
just as was saying,
First roll of the night.
first roll of the night, first roll of the campaign, and just like our name, 1 in 20, I have got 1.
And so it begins.
Yeah, so I'm gonna say, Dante, for whatever reason, this you know that the nomads and some of the tribes out in the deserts use Zikar crystals on the bottom of their carts, pulled by horses. That is what you know of Zikar. Okay. Eechie, you have been around some of the cities. While it is true that a lot of the nomads still do this, as you turn the corner, you see a large 15 by 20, almost flatbed. If you imagine the flatbed of a flatbed truck, so just the back of it, no truck bit.
Yep.
With a large blue crystal, almost not like it's sliced, almost like they've cut a thin slice of the crystal and stuck it to the bottom of this large, heavy plate. And you can see that there's one stuck in the middle and then one on each corner, sort of as this large plate carrying boxes and boxes of unknown stuff tied down to it, comes hovering slowly round the corner, preceded by a cloud of white vapor, which as it passes over you, and passes by your carts and almost covers your cart in this cloud vapor, you realize it is literally just water as you sort of come through a little bit damp and a little bit, okay, it's almost just like you got rained on for a second then. But you're seeing a lot more of these, and each of you know they are called Aether Stream vehicles. That's
Aether Stream.
AETHERSTREAM.
So if you spell that again, Aether.
AETHERSTREAM, all one word. So it's just Aether Stream, all one word.
No hyphenation, just cool. Aether Stream.
Eechie, you know that sort of vehicle is called uses what is called a cloud engine. And you know that is for the richy rich. From being from a nomad tribe, a lot of your tribe and a lot of the tribes they still use horse-drawn beast of burden to pull their Zikar vehicles. Mm-hmm. That is one of, and known to be a very high society sort of thing, self-driving, self-pushing.
Self-propelled.
Self-propelling, and it does it via using the cloud engine. How exactly is a big old mystery, but and obviously for Eechie being from a nation, being from part of Tuil that is and has been very controlled and under the control of the arcane factions. You've heard about these things, and they do control who learns how to make them. It is the nomads have stories of one of them tried to give it a go and some government types turned up and took it off them. And But the down here in this area, it does seem to be like somebody took an industrial estate and mixed it with. There are some houses here that definitely are much older and probably belong to some of the miners that mined the still functioning miners. You look over towards it's further down from you on a lower bit of the shelf, but still functioning. There's still the production of Zikar and the mining of Zikar that goes on here. And eventually you would pull up to Ariane's Arcana. A fairly unassuming shop. It seems to have a garage entrance, so it's not like a front door, but that's shut. And the garage section of it is fully open. And as you look in, you can see that there is two spaces. Like it's a large open garage with like different tools and bits and bobs and bits of scraps all over the place, and two cleared sections. One of the sections has has a large flatbed with no crystals currently attached to it. It seems to be in like a fixing or building stage of its creation. Doesn't seem to be anybody around, but the door's open. You can hear a soft like music playing in the background from further in.
Does it sound live or tinny, like it's coming from like a megaphone, kind of like record player kind of thing?
It sounds live. Sorry, it looks.
Okay. I suppose. Sorry, just because I don't want to mess this up. This is Ariane's Arcana. Yes.
Yeah, you look up. There is a sign. It's it looks. It's one of those like it's so all the letters are there, but it's like ones that are they're old and rusted. It looks like a very beat up old establishment. It doesn't look, it's not the sort of like you wouldn't be thinking you'd be delivering anything major here.
We're delivering other things as like was it just the
it
was other things as well.
As far as you were originally aware, that box wasn't there. You found that after clearing out what you were supposed to be transporting, which is it was you actually haven't looked, to be fair, because when you looked because you were searching, it's like it was tools and scraps and stuff that does make sense for it, components.
Okay, cool, yeah. Bang on the door.
Okay, from a back room there is a one second, and there's some clattering and some banging. Before a second door on the left opens and a tiefling, a purple tiefling with large, almost straight up horns with only a slight, African deer horns that are sort of like straight up with like a little curve.
Yeah.
Like oh God, I can't think of the name.
What
of
are the jumpy ones?
Antelope.
An antelope or a gazelle. Yeah.
Yeah.
They seem to be male and come out in a fine outfit that seems to not suit this establishment at all. And you have guests. Should we go? Yes, I think we should go. And they seem to be talking inside, as then from the back room, a goblin appears. They seem to be in mechanics overalls, covered in oil and grease, and they're currently like wiping their hands on a rag that's just making the hands dirtier. And sort of, can you give me a perception as this moment sort of incurs?
18.
Not good. set she own. That is a 9.
9.
Okay.
9.
So,
No.
Eechie, as you sort of look to the goblin who's appearing, and so I go, what do you want? You need something fixing, building, we can do it for you. And as you sort of, I'm going to come back to yours. As you look back, Eechie, the door on the left has closed again. Dante, you would have seen another tiefling, female, in similarly to good dress for this place, move out, see your sort of like caravan of stuff coming in, and they drink something each before turning invisible and ducking round the court. Well, you don't know where they ducked, but they definitely moved before the door shuts with nobody coming or like going to it. And this goblin's like, you need, is it deliveries?
Eechie will, like saddle up on the elk and kind of like walk at the cart. Yes, I believe we have a delivery.
Oh, well, let's start unloading then. Which are the drivers? Like, you see Summer puts up a hand and Jilly's like, yeah. Like, you two need to be, we need you for the unloading. Boss wants to see you two.
Us two?
Yeah, I mean, you're Eechie, right?
Yes, that would be I.
Yeah, well, specifically you, but yeah, go on.
Oh.
And then they're like, in this way, you two, bring that stuff through there.
I turn to Dante. Well, I don't like that one bit.
Mm.
Well, onwards we go.
Dante just kind of follows quietly behind him. Eyes kind of just piercing forward.
Okay, so they motion you over. So they sort of point for Jillian and someone to start unloading things, and motion you over towards the door on the left that had just shut. And as you head over towards it, we will take a pause there, rewinding a little in time, and moving to our other two companions, who, unlike Dante and Eechie, who bypassed each bit of security on the way in, they have not been so fortunate. The first one, Aileni, it would seem like a normal check, but then the second one, they more were noticing that you were definitely not from Versa.
Mm-hmm.
One of them mentioned your accent, as you sort of said to Volu, like, oh, let's keep going, or like something like that. It's like, oh, where are you from again? And it's because obviously your job declares you as coming from here to there. Oh, sorry, I need to just plug in my computer a second.
By the way, Matt, where did the elk come from?
I summoned that last session.
That's all right then.
I have the spell Find Steed.
That makes sense. No, I like that.
Oh, it was here the whole time, Emma. Did you not see it? Wow.
Obvious invisible elk. Okay.
But yeah, so we join in here as he sort of goes like, your paper said you come from South. Just where?
Yes. I am originally from. Trying to remember the name of the place begins with an A. Hang on, I need the map.
What, Andon?
Andon, thank you. Can you put the world map on the thing, honey, just so I can see it?
On which one? Oh,
on
the
Roll20. Yeah. So yes, I am originally from Andon, but I've been here for quite a while. We're travelling from Clearpool with a delivery for Dana in Lower Hill.
Oh, okay. Your names again, sorry. Just get you through the registry, and he sort of pulls out a thing, and
I am Aileni. Aileni.
Uh,
Let's think about how I said my name then.
I would say he doesn't at all for a beat even think about asking you if it's spelt this way at all. And as you look over the shoulder, it's definitely not spelt how he's spelling it. He's like, "Hey, Lenny, yeah, right." And you said you were from Andon, yeah?
Yes, originally. I haven't been there for a while though.
You're like, "No, it's not that." I was like, and you are from
Me?
name and where you where you hail from. Got a lot of visitors coming to the city for the festival. Government wants some documented cultural exchange and all that.
Do you really need to know my name?
Yeah, I'm afraid we do.
It's fine. It's fine.
Okay, I trust you. I'm Volu, and I'm from a place called Half Over.
Like, half over. I've never heard of that. Lots of places, I suppose. And he started, just writes it down. Genuinely on new passive insight, like genuinely hasn't. However, they are human, and don't, they don't have the they don't have the longest of lifespans, and they are prone to forgetting things. But you would be then allowed through again, exiting out onto the top shelf of the bastion around the military houses. For you to get down to Lower Hill, you can take any of the routes. It is one of the residential areas around the base of the mountain itself. And neither of you actually know anything at all about it.
Have I ever been in Kadfesi before?
I wouldn't know.
No, not through. Not since you wouldn't have needed to travel this far up, and it's quite an arduous journey if you were to do it alone, especially.
Yeah. Okay. So I will just sort of turn to Volu and say it's fine. They're probably just checking everybody's names. There must be hundreds of Volus, right?
There must be. Yeah, there must be. Yeah. And I look into myself and kind of nod and accept, but it's still pondering on my mind because I've not had to say my name in years. And now, in the past few days, it's been mentioned again and again and again, and it's really playing on my mind.
If you feel awkward about it, say that you're from Andon like me. There's lots of forests over there. It's far enough away that nobody would know.
I guess that might help. Because yeah.
Okay. Let's find this Dana at the Rust Bucket Inn. I mean, maybe if it's nice enough, maybe we can stay there.
It would be nice to rest for a while.
Have a proper bed.
Nice breakfast.
Sounds good.
Let's go.
Okay. We'll head down the hill with our wagon.
Okay, so as your cart enters into the fort and into the city of Kadfesi in full, opening out onto the bastion, would you both like to describe your characters, please?
Okay, so Aileni is a furbolg. She's about 7 feet tall. She's got sort of brownish fur on her, all over her. She's got reddish, gingery sort of curly hair in her side, like across part of her face. And you can see that it's actually covering what looks like a lot of scarring. You can see there's the scar tissue breaking up the fur across her mouth, across her cheek. Her nose is a little bit damaged where it's been broken at some point in the past. She's wearing fairly scruffy leather armor. It looks old and worn, like, it's well cared for, but it's not new. And she's got an almost floor-length overcoat that looks too big for her. Even though she's quite big and quite tall, she's skinny. And the overcoat just hangs very, very loosely. She has a bow. Just checking. She has a long bow. She carries a quarterstaff. But it looks like on the inside of her coat, she's got like belts and pouches and various things sort of inside the overcoat. That's Aileni.
Volu.
So if you were to look at Aileni and see her gargantuan height, you would peer about 3/4 halfway down, and that's when you would see Volu. Volu is a halfling, round about 3'2". He has brown curly locks with olive skin and piercing silver eyes. He is wearing a cape that looks to be made of leaves that have been collected from various different places, some green, some almost like they've just fallen off the tree in autumn, and they've almost been intrinsically woven into each other. He is wearing a breastplate adorned with his adoptive kin's sigil. It almost looks like a tree sprouting up and then being enveloped by Mother Nature. And he looks to be quite cheeky.
Okay, lovely. Okay, so you begin to make your way down. As you move down the central path, you can see that this city seems to be built in an odd fashion. In that, as you're moving down from the fort, the bigger, taller buildings you can actually see look more worn and tired. They're more tightly packed together. The mountainside itself is littered with like tower block style apartments that are chained together by like stone bridges. So if you imagine, it's almost like growing up out of the mountainside, but the path you would walk on to get to them is like on the 10th floor, and it links up with the path that you're on. You would sort of join. And
Can I just check? Are these actually separate buildings next to the cliff, or are they literally built into the cliff?
Separate buildings almost going up out of the cliff.
Okay.
They have a base, obviously, but that's the perceived image, almost like the mountain has these weird tower block spires growing out of it. And it's almost like symmetrical as you go down. So it's like you sort of head down, there is stone bridges to the left and right, and they're attached one after another to these, like I said, very run-down tower blocks. The further down the mountain you get, the houses and the buildings don't seem newer in any sense, but just seem more cared for, more looked after. You move down through an area known as the Chantry.
Okay.
And you would see that as you pass down onto this, you wind your way down and move onto a much wider shelf that seems to have been used to make at first you're thinking a garden, but at the end of this large garden, you can see a grand building with like swirling architecture that sort of reaches up to the sky itself. I think you wouldn't know what it is exactly, but I think you have seen enough places of worship to recognize the difference in grandeur. It's like sets itself out in the city, especially.
Compared to Clearpool.
No, in terms of to the other buildings, in sense of like when you see a cathedral, it doesn't always match the buildings that are directly around it because the cathedral's so much older. This is almost in reverse, where all the buildings around it were here, and then they've built this different large structure recently. It seems it's all glass and metal swirling.
So I would know though that Kadfesi, they worship Larixa, don't they? They're
Theoretically.
Larixan rather than Astera worship.
And so you all also would be able to see as you both would be able to see as you move into this area. And again, sorry, let me pull up my notes quickly. You all know as you move into this area, it becomes very, very hard to ignore the signs of the upcoming festival, but also, especially in this area, the political ties. As you move through, you've seen banners and such, but as you get further down and as you move into this large garden area, you can see people moving around wearing little purple ribbons. And you would recognize members of the Lyrixan Arcanum. That is the current political faction in power. You would know it is them that is handing over to the Verdant Circle.
Hang on, they are handing over to the Verdant Circle.
And they are worshippers of followers of the divine. They believe that their stances are that we should pretty much reject arcane magic. We should have
circle that believe that.
So the Verdant Circle believe that we should reject magic. We should centralize government. We should emphasize on ancestral traditions to bring the people of Tyril together. The Lyrixan Arcanum believe we should have a more decentralized government to better suit those on the fringes of the desert.
Yeah.
They wish to embrace Arcana as it is a gift towards enlightenment, and to take a moderate stance on technology, trying not to rely solely on new tech that comes into the world.
Okay.
There are other political factions, but pretty much these two have held the seats for as long as most of you can remember. Dante, you will remember a time when there wasn't a political faction at all. There wasn't parliamentary system. But that was a very, very long time ago.
And this is what this tournament's about, the fact that they're handing over power from one party to
another. So you know that this is the... I made loads of... This is why I don't like notes always, because I lose them. Give me a second. You will know that this is the Grand Ascendancy. Every 5 years... and for those that live in Tyril, this is a big thing every 5 years. So every 5 years, the land begins to almost pulsate with anticipation, votings, cultural exchange. The idea behind this event is that the losing member, or the current reigning member who's handing over, holds a festival in the nearest city to their home birth. And it is a large week-long festival that is fully organized and hosted by the person who is handing over. But the idea is that then it brings in a lot of money for their faction, it brings in a lot of money for their people, and cultural exchange. There's then this big handover on the 7th day, and a farewell feast, and it sort of finishes, and at that point, the power will hand over.
Has the festival started yet, or is this just in preparation?
We are maybe 4 days away from the festival's first beginning. For you two not from this place, you don't know what this is. Effectively, this is a bit of an early campaigning thing that goes on. You can imagine that this building might be something to do with Larixa, just from the number of people. You could pick out a few people that you definitely can tell are wizards. They're like very clearly large robes carrying glowing orbs. There's some actively using magic floating around, hovering as they speak to people. It's all for Aileni, you would notice, because again, arcane magic is used on the other side once the secrets were taught and it passed around the world. But it's showy here. It's almost like over the top for the sake of it. Little gems that spin around their heads that actually probably don't do anything. It's literally just there to spin.
So maybe in Andon it's more functional rather than
in the
showing.
whole of Ostvel, it is more functional.
Okay.
Magic is used very much more in a functional manner. Even in their religious ceremonies, the Andonites have a very simple style of ceremony, whereas the Tuil people have a very, even though they are of the Andonite religion, they have very grand, big parades, large ceremonies, and it's because of this constant infighting in the country where they are constantly vying with the other for followers, for power, for and for longer than this party or parliamentary system has even been in play, this power battle has been going on in the background.
Does it? I mean, what's the atmosphere on the street itself? We're seeing all these people.
Very happy at the minute. There's a lot of excitement. Give me perceptions as you're moving through the crowds and keep continuing on your way down.
Dirty 20.
23.
Okay, so both of you may be a little interested. You're hearing the talk, you're hearing the buzz. There's lots of different groups, and as you're passing, you manage to sort of gather that the most of the talk is about the festival, and specifically firstly the announcement that you already know of, and you have heard this talk within the all cities you've been in throughout all of Tuil. About a month ago, when the election was announced, so they sort of announced the results of the election, and then they have about a month to tidy up affairs and handle things before you fully hand over, and then the festival happens to announce that. In that, when they announced the electionary winner, the current prime minister, who, sorry, 1 second, is why won't we do that? What do you do?
Buster Rhymes.
No, sure. The current prime minister is Archmage Aelar Moonshadow. Aelar Moonshadow.
Formerly known as Buster Rhymes.
Yeah. They are a very old tiefling. Even if you, for what you would know of them, for people who are not from here, he is said to be very cunning and very insightful. And he is famed, like it's very well known, that he was the headmaster of the Azure Spire Academy, which is the major magic academy within Kadfesi.
Azure Spire.
Yes, before he won prime minister, before he was elected.
Okay. So that's like a magic school.
Yes, it is. Yeah. It is the magic school this side of Tuil. There is another one on the other desert.
Okay.
That is, and they're not linked by any means. But you would have heard. But basically, sorry, he announced that they were going to bring back the tradition of the Doom Hackler, which you heard out of the gate, the death race, which hasn't been done since. Sorry, again on the front of things. There hasn't been a Doom Hackler since the year 7,490.
7,490.
So nearly 500 years there hasn't been a Doom Hackler. That was due to the events that you've seen plastered all over everywhere. There's memorials where a large amount of people were killed due to fighting between the arcane and divine factions. And a lot of the area where, and as you actually begin to pass in, you can see the area known as the Crucible. You are on a shelf maybe about 100 feet up from it, but sort of looking from your left as you bypass it, you can see that in the center of a very lovely, well laid out and cared for garden is the ruins of a once grand Colosseum. Surrounding that is the more hastily built. It looks like a market stall. So if you imagine the area that is now garden and memorial, to that event has become like pop-up market.
Okay.
So right now, as you look down there, you can see the tarps and the shawls that hang from the stalls themselves. You can hear the buzz from that area. Around that again is then housing, and it looks like slightly nicer, slightly more spaced housing. And it's actually around this area joins up to that housing estate that you start to begin to join as you move down towards lower hill.
I think as we're traveling down, Volu would probably see Aileni smile. She's looking around and she's watching the people and the families and the children, and she grins. And he's possibly not seen her really look happy like this. And then she basically spots a father swinging a daughter up onto his shoulders, and her face just falls. Like, she almost stops in her tracks, and then her face goes back to that very blank, almost unreadable.
And as they pass, you would hear the daughter sort of saying like, "Daddy, we should go and see the tapestry contest. They're going to weave great arty things. I want to do that." And they sort of like, "Okay, yes." You would sort of gather as you're moving through. You are moving into an area that seems to be. It is housing and just residential, but also some of these residential homes seems to have been sort of transformed into makeshift shops or other things that would allow them to benefit from the influx of people. A few of these, you see weavers, you see leather workers, you see, wood carvers, all that sort of. It's very much trade, and actually you would know this very much in the desert. Having a trade, having a skill that you could give benefit to the tribe that you were joining, give benefit to trade for commerce. It's a very big thing in the culture of those that grew up and grew up in and around the desert. Whereas obviously for the Tuil side, it's varied. It depends which city you grew up, how rich you were. In the desert areas, there isn't really rich until magic came into play. But yeah.
But yeah, so she would sort of pull herself together and carry on.
Okay. Sorry, go on.
I would be a little overwhelmed. I'm not used to seeing so many people, and when people are running past, I'm kind of just halting a little bit. But I do notice that Aileni is smiling, and that kind of brings a sense of ease to myself, and I start to embrace the surroundings more. I see the wizards with their gems spinning round their heads and are almost transfixed by the propulsion that is going round. And then, as looking at that, I look back and see that Aileni's face has dropped, and I'll just check in and go, Are we all good?
Yes. Sorry, I saw something that reminded me of something else. No, everything's fine. Yeah, this could be fun.
It seems that does this happen a lot, or this seems quite special?
I don't think so. I think this is only every few years, and it's like a big festival. I think it's going to be on all week. There'll be like competitions, and there'll be games we can play. It depends how long you want to stay here, Volu.
What is this tapestry contest that the girl that just ran past was talking about?
No idea. Maybe it's how fast you could make one. Maybe it's the tapestry that's got the best picture on it. We can go see if you like.
Is it anything like making cloaks? Because I'm pretty good at making cloaks.
It'll be just like that, making cloth with pictures on it.
Do you think I could win?
Let's see. Let's find where we're going. Let's find where we're going. We can hand over our goods. We can collect our pay. work out where we want to stay and how long we want to stay for. We need to find out where the library is for you.
Yeah.
And there'll be lots of things we can do.
Okay, let's we can't be far away now, can we? We've been trekking down what feels like for days.
Down the hill.
And you have been traveling for a good 30-40 minutes. This city is not long in its actual land distance, but in its vertical ups and downs. But also it flattens the path that you follow down very much hugs the mountain and the shelves that are provided naturally almost. The slope itself isn't that intense, if that makes sense. It almost winds its way all the way down the mountainside. There are areas where you can see it's fenced off and that the sheer drop, and it will drop quite sheerly for like 60-70 feet and then cater out again to an easier slope. And that's almost where they're having to wind their way down to avoid the drops.
Cool.
But yes, and as you are pulling up to your location, we will flick back to the others. As the door creaks open, you enter into a very cramped, very dusty, what looks to be office. Stacks of carts and boxes left and right, and a small glow of a lantern in the back. As you look around, there is nobody here, and there even doesn't look like really this area is functional. However, Eechie, sort of, as you sort of see the swinging through the sort of jungle of boxes, you can see that there is an open door with further light on the far side of this room.
Each will begin to cautiously walk towards it, like head on a swivel, looking around. Hello?
Through here.
Right. And Ichi will step through.
Okay. Is Dante following?
Yep.
Okay, you make your way through and you move through into your classic back room, right? It is there's a table in the middle that you see two humans, a bugbear, and a dwarf sat at a table currently playing cards. There is a heavy set orc to the right of the door as you enter, who seems to be looking towards you and the one who spoke. Is your classic, thug back room behind the legit business, and gives both of you, even with your low insights, that vibe immediately. It's like if you encountered this by surprise, there's I'm in trouble. There are weapons out on the table, though they don't seem like out ready, but there's, like a dagger stuck in the table there next to that guy. The sword of one of the humans is just sort of resting on his hip as he, looks at his cards. And as you come through, the orc, you the delivery guys?
That would be us.
Through there. And you sort of look over, there is a archway that is currently curtained off.
Ichi looks at Dante and visibly rolls their eyes through there. Through there.
Yeah.
Through there.
Yeah.
Right. What's another doorway? We'll push back the curtain and step through. Hello?
Looks like Dante does go to say something, but then just kind of shrugs.
You move through and are immediately almost I want to say assaulted by the smells and very strong incense that, while definitely in here is like almost hazy. These curtains, they're either the best curtains in the world, or both of you would pick up there's some magic BS going on here, because it's literally like, and even actually as you pull back the curtain, no smoke spilled out. You stepped into hazy fog of incense and, wafting. It's almost as if you stepped...
Is it incense?
Well, it's almost as if you've stepped into the inner areas of a large tent, and as you look up, there's no ceiling anymore. There's just stretches of fabric and cloth reaching up to the ceiling. Can you both give me investigations?
Got a passive investigation of 16.
You would have to... you can run that if you want to.
I rolled a 14.
That would be a 15.
Okay. So as you're sort of staring up, I would say, Eechie, you sort of look up. You're very unimpressed and not too phased by all this. Dante, you look up and it goes higher than the ceiling goes, for sure. So I'm you're pretty sure there's some illusionary stuff going on here, but it's cleverly mixed in with real stuff that is making it hard to pick out which is what.
With just that, I'm going to just I'm just going to keep an eye out.
Okay.
Can I do some sort of perception as in just for general, see if there's other people in here?
You can do a perception as I
creatures, anything like that. Yeah.
As I described the layout, as you look into the center, there is a shin high, 5 foot wide radius, diameter, almost like a poof. What are they called? What's the other name for them?
Like a footstool.
Yeah, footstool, or
poof.
They are called poofies.
Yeah, poofates, but it's PUFET, a PUF.
POOF, I think.
POUFEW, I thought, but
no clue. Anyway, there is a large flat cushion that seems to be stable, placed on the floor. It's about shin high on the floor, and cushions placed all around. Low light candles, and sat in a almost crafted chair out of cushions and silk and all sorts, sits a bugbear, smoking a cigarette, and
Is it a cigarette?
and gentlemen, take a seat if you wish. Drinks, and they motion over, and a small drinks tray sort of floats over. Both of you've been around this sort of stuff enough. It's definitely some sort of unseen servant over levitation or anything like that. And a small drink tray floats over with already prepared drinks.
Dante will sit down. He's not interested in a drink.
Eechie will sit down and take a cup more as a polite gesture. Won't take a sip from it just yet.
And the tray floats over, and they take the third. They look once more to Dante. Are you sure?
Mm-hmm.
I would not want it to go to waste. They pick up your glass, tip it into theirs, and now sit with what was very refined looking glass of half filled with ice is now to the brim as they and set it down. Well, gentlemen, tell me about the delivery, and I would be honest now.
Mostly the delivery was fine. We did come across some darklings in the forest. They seem to have had it under some notion that there was an item that was stolen from them.
Well, it puts us in a little bit of a predicament. Do you know what they took? Have they unloaded the carts yet? And again, he talks to a wall.
Yeah.
Turns and talks as if there's a person there, but it looks like a wall.
The item they took was some kind of compass, I believe. we decided to allow them to have the item purely of the idea that their numbers outnumbered us in a way that you would not have got any of the delivery.
Well, unfortunately, that puts us in a bit of a predicament.
Oh?
They hmm, they would reach out, and from thin air, they seem to pull a piece of paper as they Doctor. Well, my deal going forward from this interaction required the box untouched. As such, this small discrepancy will have cost me quite a bit of money. Dr. X did send me a magical message saying that their traps that they had placed picked up two names. One, yours, and they put down the little note. It seems it's not like a magic note. They've definitely like gained a message, written it down, ripped that off something. As they put down Eechie, it also has next to it delivery guy. Like in the Dr. X is like, this is the name. But yeah, this is the name of a guy I hired. Like, but also you would know, and Each, you've probably been thinking about this a little bit. That was an area thing. If you were protecting it, you would also be in the area. They're not necessarily like the one that stole it, but they are then they put down yours and then they turn the other one. What do you know of this person? Is this the name of the Darkling that stole our little? And you see Volu written across the piece of paper.
No, this individual is not the one who took the item. They were in proximity when I opened the box to prove what the item was that they were looking for. I will take full responsibility for opening of the box, yes, which is why my name is there.
And this Volu, they were alone. They see what's in the box.
The only individual who saw what was in the box was myself and the Darkling that henceforth took it.
Is that true? I'm pretty sure you showed it.
Our game.
That's what I'm going to say. I'm going to ask for a roll.
Oh, it's a complete lie.
I'm going to ask for a roll, and I actually like where this is when they've been doing this on Crit Roll, where I'm going to ask you for the roll, and you don't have to tell me whether you're adding persuasion or deception, or obviously intimidation is different, but persuasion and deception, you just tell me the number. And if they win, you then have to reveal.
I believe Volo even held the thing because I gave it to him.
We all.
Yeah.
That would be a 15.
They raise an eyebrow at you.
Like I said, I take full responsibility.
Well, either way, I accept your full responsibility, but we must speak with this Volu fellow. Make sure that they did not see too much.
In terms of what everyone saw, very limited amounts of everything. Even I myself did not see much. I saw the item, but it was mainly the conversations with the Darklings that was occupying us. Volu was there to make sure that, or at least at the time, due to our temporary partnership, that no harm came to them.
You say the Darkling said some interesting things. What interesting things?
Oh, just that it was
as he's saying this, a notepad appears into view out of the darkness of the walls behind.
Only that the item was stolen long ago, I believe.
Interesting.
I haven't been told the whole truth, yada, 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 that whole thing.
Both of you drop me insights, because I know your passives aren't
and that makes a 16 for my roll.
Okay, I would say that as the pencil and pad start writing all of their own, there is a genuine curiosity separate to whatever else they're thinking about. As they're like a stolen. How did they say how long ago?
Oh, did they? Like,
No.
no, they would not. They would not
It was a long time
divulge.
ago, and it was protected, and then it had
Yeah,
gone to move. It was only now it's been on the move that they came after it.
it has been hidden for a while, which is, yes, upon transportation is when they got sense of it. Speaking of, and I apologize if this is overstepping, the box it was in was lead lined, right?
I do not know. Our mutual friend Dr. X dealt with that.
Yes, otherwise, Dr. X definitely, they should have known to keep, if they wanted it hidden, to keep it within a lead lined box. The fact that it was not and it was trapped is.
It was lead line because we tried magically
It was.
look at it and we couldn't see anything.
I know.
Oh, cool.
The fact that it was still able to be tracked is interesting. Because if it was lead lined, then they had something else to track.
Interesting. Well, food for thought. And they flick their hand, and again the notepad and pen disappear into the darkness.
Wonderful. Well, I understand that our interception of the item has caused a large issue for you.
Yes. Well,
we're more than
also
happy to take a cut of our pay to repay for the inconvenience.
Yes, well, I mean, it is gracious of you to offer, of course, but Dr. X did suggest something of that ilk. In fact, I believe until we have settled this, that they will be holding your pay. Once we have settled our little issue, then we can, then you will receive your pay, and you never know, maybe I like having you work for me. You could maybe make some good money here in the city.
Right. Dr. X will be holding our pay.
Yes, of course. The pay was for the delivery of all items on the cart. I understand that sometimes situations arise, but I mean, Darklings, we would expect you just to deal with that sort of thing.
Always expect the unexpected, I guess.
It's cannot to be
Especially
helped.
when numbers favor the enemy. Would you have preferred us to not arrive at all and not deliver anything?
I mean, are those your only two options? I had heard you were quite skilled at getting a job done.
Skilled at getting the job done, yes. Slaughtering those who did not need to be slaughtered.
I did not say slaughter. They you could have, and in their hand, illusionarily, they click and appear a small pocket watch. Not what you lost at all, but there are ways, child. Maybe working with me, you might learn some things. I am going to suggest one task for me to repay what you have lost, upon which you will receive your pay from Dr. X, as well as a pay from myself. You may take this in either gold or stay while you are here in the city. It is up to you.
What is this job you need doing, or do we need to accept it before we know?
I mean, acceptance is always great, but I don't even know yet. I will call upon you for one job at some point. You don't have to accept it, but your debt is not paid until you complete our job for me. Are we in agreement?
I turn to Dante. He just kind of like nods.
Good.
So, this debt. Why is it that we owe a debt when we are not getting the money for the job? Surely that is debt paid, or we can offer you service to complete said job. Just take the pay that we would have been.
I mean, we could do that if it was even on the scale of what you owed.
Then surely our pay should have been higher.
That is for you to have negotiated with Dr. X, I believe. I am
Well,
just
all
I am just a
negotiations
client in this matter.
I understand that, and negotiations can normally go forward when all information is on the table. Due to negligence of information, I would say that, if anything, that null and voids all contract.
Well, the money, regardless of a contract, needs to be paid. And I assure you that negligence will not happen under jobs with myself. Dr. X, while effective, can be brutish at times. And it's not not the most delicate. To be clear, the holding of pay is an issue with Dr. X. If you wish to argue it with him, that is, I have been just told to tell you. What you owe me is due to the loss of my business.
Surely that is with Dr. X as well. They're the one who sent us.
Unfortunately, your name came up on the ballot and they tapped the thing. Now, I have many things to do and a lot of business to see to. If you need anything, please see Goro outside. Goodbye. And as they sort of like turn back to their doing whatever, smoking, drinking, the smoke in the room builds so heavy that even without you moving anywhere, you can no longer really see, except for the beam of light from the open curtain behind you.
What was the name of the person outside, Liam?
Goro, Goro.
Eechie stands, moves towards Dante and like ushers them out together, kind of thing.
Dante follows.
As you exit, how are you hiding? Are you like, how are your expressions as you exit into this shady back room, where, while I would say your perceptions are good enough that you can tell that while they're still playing and talking, they are definitely keeping an eye on your exit.
Eechie's keeping a calm demeanor.
Dante is just there with him.
Okay. As you head out, got you what you assume to be Goro, as the orc is the only one that looks at you and nods. Says, "Get everything you need."
Certainly. I suppose we'll probably end up seeing you at some point.
Potentially. Need a place to stay, or you got somewhere?
We should be able to figure something out, but thank you very much.
Watch yourself out there. City's going to be wild over the next few days.
You're telling me this festival's coming around, well.
Oh, you're new in the city. No work on the festival days, not from us. You actually don't recognize that, but Dante, you know he is referring to theft and things of that kind. They're more saying no unsanctioned work than no work at all, but it's the sort of, they don't know who you're potentially just robbing. You might be robbing a dignitary from a powerful priest or whatever, or even somebody that they work with just from another city. So it's they are basically just telling you, don't do anything illegal without asking us first.
Oh, got a thieves guild. Wonderful.
Something similar.
We're friends with the mob. I say friends. We're being blackmailed by the mob.
Yeah.
That is very mobby to do, to be fair.
I don't know. You know, I feel like I get the wrong end of the stick sometimes.
However,
the end of the stick with a spike on it.
As you exit out, you would notice that the carts have basically been fully unloaded. Jilly is currently just sort of ticking off an itinerary with the goblin. And Summer's sat on the back of the wagon looking a little bit nervous. And as you come out, like, everything okay?
Let's get moving.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say, you going anywhere? I mean, we're heading towards the so we're heading towards the Bloody Banner Inn, just near the Colosseum.
Might be worth heading that way. As we kind of like start heading that way, are we on the cart still? Are we?
Yeah, so you would. They are still because again these are like hired drivers from a separate thing. So they take the carts and they've unloaded them. Jilly's still riding the one at the back. It's up to you whether you both pile in the front one or with Summer or whatever, or if you spread out like you were before.
I honestly don't mind. I feel like both in one cart. Yeah. As we can like hop into the front one, like Summer's cart, and start moving on. First of all, Eechie looks around, closes their eyes. Well, might as well have a look. Opens and has like a faint white glow to them, and I'm going to cast See Invisibility just to see if there's any scrying eyes or anything around us, anything tracking us, anything watching.
Okay. Not so you cast your spell and you're looking around. What's the distance on it?
It's about
See Invisibility
60. 60.
Yeah.
Is it like a radius or?
For the duration, you see invisible creatures, objects as if they were visible, and you see into the ethereal plane. It doesn't have.
Okay,
distance.
so it's just as far as you can see. Sweet.
And we are in day at the moment.
Yeah. It is. It is maybe 11 a.m. Like we're not late. We're not late in the day at all. Because the gate drops at 6. So it's been a good few hours of you moving around the city, waiting for the meeting, talking, all that stuff. But you're still very much midday. And you look around, taking a glance, you don't see anything in your immediate vicinity. And as you sort of look this way, in your peripheral, something moves. And you look up, and not like just above you at all, like very, very distinctly, I want to be clear on that. This is not an orb above you watching you. There are lots of scrying orbs, or at least invisible orbs, moving around the city. And you like one just that way, just generally here.
This is like a Baldur's Gate thing. I fucking hated those scrying orbs.
Yeah, feels a little bit like an arcane version of CCTV. Just there's a whole floor of wizards just like plugged into chairs, like.
And interestingly, however, especially for Eechie, this isn't commonplace. This isn't like the major cities in the eastern side of Tuil don't have this. So like even for you, this is like that's unsettling. And again, to be clear, I shouldn't have said scrying orbs. They are invisible objects, but they are flying around, stopping in places, turning on the spot, flying to the next place, stopping in places. Some of them are moving a bit more slowly, but consistently.
Any orbs that seem to be tracking our movement, just in sync, in tandem.
Not that you can tell.
Wonderful. Checking the cart. making sure there's no hidden glyphs, sigils, anything
Give me an investigation as you begin to.
Do I get advantage because of sea invisibility?
Yes.
Woohoo! Fuck! 8.
You check over the carts. You don't see anything weird or odd. Horses
Beautiful.
seem fine.
Cool. Yeah, I will then turn to Dante. What was the point of this? What was I saying? Oh yeah. What was the long-winded form of this?
Yeah.
Did you had more interaction with Volu? Did they happen to mention where it was their destination was? And this is all said kind of like hand over mouth.
Mm-hmm.
I believe the rusty bucket.
Wonderful. It would be good to at least to let them know that there are some people who might be looking for them.
I agree, it's good to tell them.
At least just to be courteous, they did help us quite a significant amount.
What is to happen with us? Are we to still go up north as was planned?
Well, it was said that we're indebted, and at some point they'll call upon us, but
You did not agree to it.
I did not agree. I don't think this is an agreed upon thing. I think this is they state it, and like a bratty child, they believe only what they say. But
They believe what they wish.
they did not say we had to stay in the city. I think we move forwards with our plan to head north, but we definitely swing towards the other two to inform them.
That is a good idea. I will follow your lead.
Okay. And as you guys head towards the Bloody Banner, moving down through the houses and away from the more working area that you were previously in, you move over to more towards the Colosseum, and down on the edge. It's almost on the very, very edge of what begins as the memorial area, which is like this radius circle around the ruins of the Colosseum, is a 3-story inn, fairly large. This for compared to some of the other buildings, and you have noticed this in areas of the city, the lower levels look like sort of older. It looks like at one point maybe it was 1 story and they expanded it upwards, or you know, it looks like it's an old pub that has grown and grown. And you see the swinging sign depicting a gladiator sticking a banner into a defeated foe. And we will pause just there to flick back over to Aileni and Volu, whose drop off with the drop off towards their jobs is going a lot more peacefully and simpler. You pull up to what is one of these houses. So it is like a house that's also got this area sort of decked out to be used for sale, and almost as like a little shop. As you pull up, you would be able to see that with the sign that it looks to be almost like herbal remedies, creams. Do you see like beauty stuff? It's very much that sort of potions and such. Aileni, I don't think either of you. Volu, you'd be able to tell with a closer look, but I don't actually. Aileni, are you herbalism proficient or alchemy? You're muted. Sorry, at the moment, Mum.
Sorry. No, I am not.
Okay, so Volu, you would need to take a closer look. For Aileni, it's kind of hard to tell whether this is legit or, but a very lovely furbolg lady comes out to you and says, "Oh, are you my deliveries? I've been waiting all week. Come on in," and sort of whisks you in. Is there anything you want to specifically do here? If it's up to, sorry, it's up to you. As they sort of like, they would bring you in and they would ask you to unload the stuff for them.
I'll happily unload, and I'll sort of do most of the unloading, to be honest, and sort of let Volu just take everything in. I'm assuming it's a little bit quieter in here than it was outside with all the hustle and bustle, and I know that Volu finds that a bit overwhelming, so I'm just going to start unloading and sort of letting him chill.
And Volu, as you sit and look around, this is almost like it's on the edge of what would be sort of middle-class houses, as it were, with like small gardens and some space, but moving further down, and are fully onto the now ground, you can see the much larger, grander houses that seem to, the most affluent houses seem to be built off the mountain base itself and on the plains of the before it becomes fully desert, if you imagine.
So the way we approach this is kind of like over, and then as it hits the desert plains, that's where.
No. So you've been coming down the whole time. Yeah. So it's like you go down and it goes flat, and then.
No, I mean when we approached the city, we approached it from.
Yes.
Yeah. So we would have come up.
You came up, and at the very peak is the fort and the drawbridge and the ravine. And they literally built the fort to fill the peak.
Yeah, and now we're going down.
And then this whole down since you left the bastion and headed down to Lower Hill. That was like very near this is like almost the actual base of the hill.
Okay.
Whereas the Colosseum and a lot of the more grander houses are built actually on the flat areas at the actual base.
I would unload it all, and then I would say, I assume that you're Dana?
Oh, yes, sorry, my dear. I forgot to... would you like it? Your pay, sorry. And they sort of...
I'll pull out a letter as well that was from Jemima Laby, who gave us the job, and sort of just hand that to her.
As Aileni's handing that to her, I go, oh, we're awfully hungry from all this travelling.
Give me a persuasion. I like that. I really
it's
like that.
Breakfast and second breakfast, and
you don't ask, you don't get.
9.
She goes, I'm so sorry, my dear. I was going to go for a shop after your delivery. I don't have anything in. I might have a piece of fruit, maybe. They produce a singular apple for you to snack upon.
Thanks.
I am sorry.
I take the apple.
I am sorry. I was not prepared for guests. Maybe next time this delivery was very successful. Will you be going back, or are you staying within the city?
We're not sure yet. We thought we might hang around a couple of days and
stay for the festival. Yes, that would be lovely. It is not a once in a lifetime thing, but it is to be seen. And every festival is different, designed by the current Prime Minister, and with the Doom Hacker, people are very excited.
Do I know what the Doom Hacker is?
You've heard it. It loosely translates in Giant to Death Race. The only time either of you have heard it is in reference to this festival.
I do speak Giant.
Or by the gnomes that were being stopped at the front door. They said they were here to take part in the Doom Hacker.
The Doom Hacker?
It is, the Doom Hacker itself is a very old and violent tradition. You see, when the city was first made, it was commissioned by the powers at the time to mine the Zikar, and she sort of motions over to where you can still see movement and mines, and there's the plumes of smoke that come off some of the buildings from over that direction. They mined it, but to do that, they had to populate the town very quickly, and they asked many of the tribes and people in the area if they would, for pay and for benefits, come and live in this town. Eechie,
Is that when you moved in?
sorry, I know. Oh yeah, Eechie, you're not there. Sorry, I forget you're not all together yet.
Mm.
Are you saying to her? Sorry.
Yeah, is that when you moved in?
Oh no, dear. I mean, you look at her. She's maybe 150-ish. You know, like she's not young for a furball, but she's not old by any means either. She says, "Oh no, dear, that was many, like thousands even of years ago. I'm not a historian, so maybe you would have to look in the scriptorium maybe for something to find out the dates. But it was going quite well, and everybody seemed quite happy. But a few years in, they started to encounter more troubles, old issues between the tribes, old problems and grievances arose, and people began killing each other and fights, and it wasn't very good. And so they commissioned the arena, and again, she sort of motions. And again, from here, it's weird to just be able to look out of your front garden, and you can see a good, few 100 feet away, down lower to the actual base of the mountain, you can see the ruins of the arena. From this height even, and with your decent perceptions, you can see that there's almost two rings of buildings. If you imagine within the Colosseum, this is within the Colosseum itself, sorry, it looks like there is a smaller arena, or was a smaller arena, within the very large Colosseum building.
Mm-hmm.
Can I just ask Liam, are we able to gauge just the size of it?
So
you say it's really large, like how?
Sorry, yeah, the from like the Colosseum from here is maybe, I'm trying to think of something relative, because it's not quite the size of the Rome Colosseums. It's smaller than that.
Okay.
But still, it would seat a few thousand people standing.
Like a football stadium size or smaller?
No.
Like a Burnley football stadium rather than
like a
garden shed.
A championship team.
Rather than Premier League. Okay.
Yeah, maybe something along that lines.
Would you say it's kind of like the distance is kind of like 60 feet by 60 feet, sort of inside of it?
Oh, the fighting space is easily like the actual area. So obviously now it's ruins, but I don't know if you've seen pictures or if you've been to ruined Colosseums. You can almost see where the foundations used to be, and where the underground bits used to be, where they often kept the lions or kept the people who were going to fight. So that area looks to be maybe 120 by 120, maybe slightly bigger.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can see the ruins of the seats that then go outwards from that. And they go out maybe another, again, and it's ruins and it's the frame of, but they go out maybe another 60 to 80 feet.
Okay. So we're looking about 200 feet.
Yeah, it's an unmissable landmass, and even though it is crumpled and ruins, it's got that same style as where some of the sections held and are still a few 100 feet up in the air, and we can't touch it. Or there's probably protections and stuff around it, but you can see, she says, an arena was built, not the thing you see now, but something smaller. And the Doom Hacker was a challenge that could be issued. If you had an issue or a problem, you could challenge another to a race. Within this race, anything went, and you had to complete 3 laps. The first to do so won. They chose how the issue was dealt with. After which there was to be no issue, no further issues or repercussions to anything that happens within a Doom Hacker. And again, she's just sort of moving around, and she's now, like, for you guys that she's talking to, she's handing you boxes to hold as she's topping up shelves with things and, like, sorting what, like, she's almost just using you to hold things as she's talking away and going about her. There was such barbaric times, much harsher times back then. But that tradition has been long forgotten. I mean, it's faded out of use once the city stabilized. It was brought back in during the War of Buck and Cloth. I would say a dark time for this city, but it depends who you talk to. And then yes, we have not seen a doom hacker since for maybe 500 years or so. So it goes. I have never seen one in my life, and most of the city have never seen one. When Prime Minister, sorry, I forgot it, Alar.
Yeah, that's what you said, I think.
Yeah. When Prime Minister Alar announced that we would be doing it in place of our usual combat day, the city were extremely excited.
It does sound exciting.
And I have not looked into it much, but I hear the reward is quite grand.
Oh, so anyone can enter?
Oh yes, you must have a what did he call it? An Aether stream vehicle. I do not know if you are familiar. They are powered by Zikar and must be propelled by something other than a beast of burden. I have not. They said it in the announcement, but it is because this is where those vehicles were first made. This is the birthplace of the I struggle with that word, Aether stream vehicle. But yes, a very famous wizard, his name eludes me, invented them a long time ago. Well, not so long ago, but.
Well, we will definitely stay around for a few days. Can I ask you a couple of questions? I promised not to keep you any longer.
Oh, yes, of course.
Do you know of a good place that would be safe for us to stay?
Well, the most commonly used. Well, there is the inn just over there, so the Rust Bucket. You would notice actually, while the address was to the Rust Bucket, hers is a house across the road. It's just on the same street.
Okay.
It's almost like all the other residential buildings. That's the building with a sign.
Yes.
So if you imagine, that's why they gave you that building. The Rust Bucket is quite nice, though. I've not stayed there. I've heard it can be a little pricey, but comfortable, and the food always smells quite nice. The most commonly used is the Bloody Banner down by the Colosseum. That is where most of visitors go. They are the largest of the inns in town. For those of you who haven't been here before, this end of the city that's like so further and beyond into the desert doesn't have any wall. And you notice it's a very light guard. Like, this distance it's hard to tell, but you're not seeing masses of units or any, where you would expect to see a wall there.
I'm imagining, though, after the city, it's desert, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's not like.
And also, you would know of what you know of the history, the fort was built in response to the war. So it was specifically built to stop divine work, people from that side entering this side. So they never feared attack from the desert side.
Is there any little guard posts that as it leaves?
You can see out into the and to be clear on the description of this, sorry, this is a rock style desert. It is as you come down from the mountains, the earth turns more cracked earth and rocky crevasses for as far as you can see after that. Sticking up, you can see in the distance what must be towers that man the road or the main exit that disappears into the desert that way.
I bet those towers are like real metal.
Yeah.
So
heavy.
So I would also say, secondly, you mentioned a scriptorium. We came here hoping to seek for some knowledge. Is the scriptorium the best library?
There is the library itself. So the scriptorium specifically is historical texts and things that we are preserving. And from Tour wide, there is quite a collection there for the public to visit. I also hear they have some stuff that is only for those with higher access. There is also the Hall of Sages. That is a library that is attached to the Azure Academy. You will have passed it on the way down. Actually, it is surrounded by large gardens.
Okay, yeah.
Um,
Thank you very much. I would then wait because she still hasn't paid us. So I would just then go quiet and sort of.
Yeah, and again, there would be sort of a moment that she's like, yeah, yes.
There is the matter of our pay.
Oh, yes, sorry. They reach in and pull up from under the desk and pull out 2 pouches of each of your splits and gives it to you.
Okay. I can't remember how much we were being paid for this, Liam.
Neither can I. And if I maybe did, and if I didn't say, to be honest, I would say that this is probably 25 gold each.
Okay.
It was a decent trek of a journey.
I'm rich.
Yay!
I got money.
My income's gone up by 500%.
Gains, son.
I would sort of not formally bow, but sort of very gently almost bend, and then just say, "Good day to you, Dana." And then I'd turn and say to Volu, "Should we find somewhere to put our feet up?"
Yeah, that sounds good. Perhaps somewhere where I can sell this, and then I kind of like pull out the dragon tooth and kind of show Aileni that.
Does this place that we're in look like it? It looks more herbalist than alchemist.
Yes, this is very much more. This is very much more not. They're not necessarily high skilled. This is basic creams and ointments, salves for burns, and then other things that claim to be, good for your skin and.
What happened to? So I made a list. I've got like a list of stuff that we got, but I don't know what added to who. We might have to work that out later.
I mean, it's worth having a look at now because I know Eechie had the sling.
Yeah,
I had the mace.
We'd split up the scrolls and the Harlequin. I don't know who took the Harlequin's cloak.
You were the one that was looking at it with your magical eyes, although you haven't. You would note you haven't had that identified yet.
No, we haven't. I took the raven thing, but we also had some gems. We had a masquerade suit. We had some rings and some necklaces. So we've got some jewelry and stuff. But I don't know if we split that when we split.
What do you think?
Okay.
You muted, Chris. So I'm fully fine for the players to decide where that, because again, your split was not planned. You thought you were going to have a second to talk inside or whatever.
To be fair, I think, for me, I didn't think I took anything, but then now part of me thinks, did I take a ring?
You did take a ring.
I thought you
did
took
take a ring.
Was it a non-magical ring? It was just a ring.
I think all the rings were non-magical.
Yeah, they were non-magical.
Yeah, I just took a ring. That was it. Thought it was.
Okay. We can work that out later if you want out a game, but yeah, there were 3 bags of gems, a masquerade suit, a harlequin outfit that wasn't magical. It was the cloak that was magical. There were 10 rings, now 9, 5 necklaces. Volu had a magical mace. Eechie got a magical sling. There were 4 scrolls.
Which, I think we give most of those to Eechie?
Yeah, we all split those, didn't we?
I would love it that each one of those rings was part of like a puzzle or something. And whoever's gone, oh, I've got them all. Oh no, there's one missing.
Cool. But yeah, so that's what I've got. I haven't added them to my sheet, but I can do if people think I would have been carrying that. It's up to you. But I would say to Volu, if he's holding up the dragon's tooth, I'd say, well, This Azure Academy sounds interesting. If that's a school of magic, maybe they'd have a use for, sometimes bits of monsters are used for alchemy or for enchantments.
How much do you think I could get for this? Because I want to pay back that guard.
How much do you owe him?
We just said that's how we got this. We said we would take care of it, and he would get his fair share.
That sounds fair. Well,
Can
maybe we need to see.
question on that? Can Volu remember where you're meeting him and in how many days?
Volu doesn't exactly remember where, but they'd kind of like come along. Wasn't it like 2 weeks?
A few days, and it was in one of the inns, which I can't remember the name of. I think it was not. I don't think it was the Rust Bucket. I think it was the one that Eechie and I are right near.
Bloody Banner.
Bloody
Yeah.
Banner.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah.
That sounds that sounds correct.
Okay. Well, maybe we need to ask in a couple of places and see how much people are willing to pay.
Is this something I should just pull out?
I think let's maybe find the right place and the right person to talk to first. If it's really worth a lot of money, somebody might steal it if they know that you have it. So,
Okay. And then I kind of like bury it underneath my cloak. And
yeah.
Okay, so for Aileni and Volu, are you wanting to head and find a place to stay first? You wanting to head into the market first, or are you wanting to head back up the mountain towards the gardens mentioned where the Azure Spire and apparently the libraries are?
I think for Eleni, she wants to probably know where we're going to be tonight. I think she's conscious that there's a lot of people in the city. There's going to be a lot of people looking for dwelling, and
I'm not exactly in a rush to go to the library.
Yeah, so I think maybe look for lodgings first and get that sorted, and then we've got the rest of the day to explore, haven't we?
Yeah. Okay.
Do we try the rusty bucket?
Hungry.
Yeah. And as you stand outside Dana's house, you can smell what seems to be some sort of roast dinner wafting over from the rust bucket. Looks like dinner has just been cooked and ready made. You can smell basically people then prepping for the dinner time orders.
I would just look at Volu and sort of tip my head smells good.
Mm-hmm. Take a big bite of my apple.
Yeah, let's head into the rust bucket before Volu starts eating things that aren't apples.
Okay. All right. So you enter in to the rust bucket, and it currently seems very empty. As you enter sorry, 1 second. So a human female is currently wiping down the bar, and with their back currently to you, they just sort of shout "You snuck off early from your shift, Ivar. You're in early," and they turn around "Oh, sorry, but newcomers, expecting the miners from the break. Come on in.
Good afternoon. Is it afternoon now?
Just about. It's midday. It's definitely about sun is high in the sky.
Okay. I'd say we could smell the fantastic food and wondered if we could buy a meal, and also to see if perhaps you had lodgings available.
Oh, we do. I mean, they're nothing fancy. It's usually just miners and stuff. Families that sometimes come to visit. We don't. But functional, yeah. You can use them.
Functional is good. We've been on the road for a while.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. Borka, slap up 2 meals. Room and meal per day. Runs you about 5 silver.
Okay. I'm going to look at Volu and say, how long do you want to stay? Do you want to stay till the end of the festival? We could stay for the week if you like.
I mean,
Like, oh, you're here for the festival.
I'll just
Yeah.
nod and smile. Just... Sorry.
I
go on,
mean,
Volu.
I'm happy to check out the library, the scriptorium. Well, we've got the tapestry tournament. We've got the deaf doom
hacker?
doom deaf hacker.
Brilliant.
That's good.
Yeah, I love that.
She goes, oh, are you going to enter any of the contests? They're open for public entry. Although Gertrude nearly always wins the weaving contests. She is very famous in these parts.
Is she here?
She has a stall down on the markets. She tends to. She's not a. She's quite well in demand. Offers caters to the richy rich over in the Zenith ward. She doesn't have a shop, but she sets up a stall around that time for any time that there is a festival of any kind. You can guarantee she'll be out there.
Maybe we should go and have a look.
Mm.
We haven't really worked out what all the different competitions are yet, but yes, I don't see why we wouldn't enter.
I mean, they have announced the days the other morning. We have where did my thing go? The first. Have you been here before? Have you been to have you been to any of the city's grand ascendancies?
No,
well. Well, in all cases, the first day is dedicated to marches, announcements, honouring our guests from other cities, all of those good things. But the 2 days 2 through 5 are dedicated to a specific thing, usually that city is known for. For us, with day 2 will be craft. There will be weaving contests. There will be smithing contests. There will be every sort of crafting you can imagine. Will be held throughout the day. And again, people are welcome to enter. Obviously, for things like smithing, some of the smiths are already working on their entries. Whereas some of the tasks are more about speed and efficiency. Some are about being able to work with not a lot of materials. Depends which bit of the day you're after. Day 3 is dedicated to food. That is my favourite day. Foods from all over Tuil. Cooks and chefs. There are contests for eating quickly, contests for the best made, all sorts of things. The day 4 is for the arts, songs, plays, poems. The streets will be filled with the bards, and all leading up to day 5, which is usually combat in general. But as you've mentioned, the Doom Hacker will be held on day 5. Day 6 is the ceremony where we will see the exchanging of the tokens, hoity-toity historical ceremonial things. And then finally, day 7 is the grand feast. People will eat everything that was cooked and anything that will go bad, and we all celebrate and look to the future. It is quite fun.
When is day 1? Like, what day is this? We've not started.
We are a 3-day away from the start of the festival.
So if we wanted to stay the whole thing, that would be 10 days.
If you wished.
And what was it? 5 silver a night.
5 silver for a room and a meal, and is that each?
Yes. Well,
so it's 1 gold.
So it's per room is the sort of 5 silver and meals if you want 2 separate rooms. As you sort of asking, she says, well, it is per the room, but I would, if you take one room and share, as I can see your friend is quite small there, I will throw in both of your meals under the same price.
Do you want to share a room, Volu, or would you rather have your own space?
Anywhere is good for me.
Let's take the one room then.
Is that 5 gold?
That would be 5 gold. So I will take out 6 gold and give it to her.
Okay. She will give you a small iron key. She will say, if you head around the back, we have the entrances without coming through the inn, because, like I said, in about 10 minutes, this place will be full of hungry miners shouting and hollering, bringing all their Zikar dust through the place. Feel free to just ignore them and head straight through. If you want food, you don't have to come in. You can just shout through the back door to Borka.
Borka.
Yeah, you hear like a yeah from the kitchen.
Thank you.
May we eat now?
Yeah, Borka, what's on those plates? There's another light. Just a few minutes, my dears. If you'd like to take a seat, might I suggest one of the ones that only has 2 chairs at it? The miners tend to fill the booths.
Let's grab a table.
As we go, I kind of like stand on a chair and get to eye level with the what was her name?
Don't think we've got a name.
No,
I don't think it's game. They said, sorry, what was your name?
My name is Elara. Elara.
Alara. That's a lovely name. Well, Alara, if we could get an extra scoop of some lovely food that we can smell, it would be most appreciated. And then I'd kind of smile and give a little wink and try and charisma an extra ladle of food.
Give me a persuasion. I like it. He's just a hungry little scamp.
I got 14.
Well, she's like, all right there. She hands you 2 drinks and she goes, Borka, make one of them a large.
Thank you.
I love the idea that
chair.
the 7-foot furbolg's just going to be like very slowly picking at her food, and there's Volu like eating enough for 3.
Yeah.
Just because I'm small doesn't mean I'm not hungry.
Yeah.
Ain't that true if we know anything about Merry and Pippin?
As
true.
you take your tables, food is brought over, and true to her word, within 10 minutes, the place is fairly ram-packed with miners of all races, genders, and sizes, drinking and taking their what seems to be slightly longer than maybe they should be, but a lunch break. And as that chaos ensues, I will flick back over to Dante and Eechie as you are arriving at entering the Bloody Banner. As you enter, this place is a lot busier than you would expect for a midday.
Where we actually go? I know we were kind of heading in that direction, but I wondered.
That's where we took you to.
I think it might be worth, Dante, if we. Oh God, who are we with? Who's the cart are we on? We're on the front one.
Summer and Jilly. So you're with Summer right now, yes.
If we send these 2 in to procure a room for us for the night, we can head on to the Rust Bucket to try and find Aileni and Volu. Or would you prefer to settle down for the night?
Summer will pipe up and say, we've already actually got two rooms booked. I mean, she looks at Jilly and says, she would speak in Dwarvish. Do either of you speak Dwarvish?
No.
I don't think so.
She says something that you would definitely pick up as like a question. And Jilly sort of like says, we have ours booked in advance because obviously the company we work for, we have 2 separate rooms. We we would be willing to share if you wish to buy our other one. She will sneak a grin at a slight markup, of course. We want to make our money back, or you can go and ask, of course. Just a thought. And they were.
I was just trying to work out just what benefit is it for us to buy it off them for a higher price.
You don't know the free yet.
No, but I mean, say she just with a slight markup. I'm just like,
yeah.
You don't know if there's any availability yet.
Right,
And there's a finance fee.
If there is, then there is.
She's just being open about the fact that it's not like a handout. There is definitely. She's just making it clear they're not just being good Samaritans.
Share with us.
They're not our friends; they are our colleagues.
Yeah. It's
friends.
But to be fair as well, Eechie and Dante, you've experienced this. Drivers and the people who guard them do usually become closer than the client and you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
them having a good relationship with you means that if you're ever paired up in the future, you've already got that running relationship. It's networking, right? Like,
yeah.
Cool.
We need to unload and settle the horses anyway, so meet us in there. We'll grab.
Yeah, sure. We'll be in just a moment. Well, let's at least buy one night, and then we can make a decision once we've discussed with the other two whether or not we're moving straight on or if we're gonna stick around for a little bit.
If you believe that is the right action, I will be with you.
We're traveling together, Dante. You are allowed to voice your concerns and opinions.
He actually looks a little bit puzzled by that.
I understand our relationship is peculiar, but that doesn't mean that doesn't mean I want you to be uncomfortable.
I know.
The audience don't know about.
I know.
I'm dying.
It was just that. It was the eyebrow from Chris. Sorry.
The eyebrow does go a few times when I've got something, but I just try. It's just becoming. It's worse in this fucking chat than it is anywhere else.
It's because in this world, your imagination is encouraged to run wild, and that's a problem for society.
Been a long time since my choices mattered. I just want to be rid of this now. So.
It's why we're traveling together, so that you can have those choices again, without worry of any other extra-planar thing.
So we'll go. We go to see Aileni and Volu. Tell them of potential eyes. And then maybe we should start to plan to leave.
Of course. Would you like to do that now or get a room now?
Usually, people buy me dinner first.
Right, we're going straight to the restaurant.
Okay,
and Eechie just confidently starts forwards.
And as you set off into the bustling streets of Kadfesi to alert the potential friends made previously on the road, that is where we will leave this week's session. This is the end of part 1. Part 2 airs Sunday 7 PM GMT, or will be linked in the top right of your screen now. Thank you for watching, and roll well.
Oh god, it does feel good.